Today we are going to factorize a cubic expression. Now, for any expression to be cubic, meaning we must have the biggest power as 3. Remember, this comes from a polynomial system where the polynomial system shows us the increase of powers. The power from 0, power 1, power 2, power 3, power 4, etc. When we have got power 0, this becomes a constant because any number to the power 0 becomes 1. When it is to the power 1, it remains the base itself, and we call it linear. But when we have got power 2, now that is quadratic. And when you have power 3, this is cubic. Now for this case, we want to factorize a cubic expression. In order to factorize a cubic expression, we shall start with our constant value. And for our case, we have got a 6. We need to find all the factors of 6. And we know the first factor of 6 is 1. The next is 2. The next factor of 6 will be 3. And finally, 6. Now for all these factors, we shall test them in our expression. All the factors that will give us equal to 0, those are the factors that we need. But remember, we need to test 1 as a positive, and if we don't get 0, we shall test 1 as a negative. Then we shall go to 2 as a positive, and next we shall go to 2 as a negative. We shall continue like that for all factors. But today, we shall only test the first one. If we get 0 in this expression, then we shall not continue and we shall change to dividing. But if we don't get 0, then we shall test negative x. And in case negative x does not give us 0, we shall go to positive 2 until we get 0. Now, let's start by testing when our x is 1. So I will substitute 1 to our expression. Then I will work it out. 1 power 3 is 1. Negative 7 times 1 is negative 7. So 1 minus 7, I get minus 6. And minus 6 plus 6, I get 0. So automatically, x factor 1 gives me 0. I won't continue testing others. Because when I take 1 to the side of x, it will give me x minus 1 is equal to 0. Hence, x minus 1 will be my first factor. So in order for me to find my other factors, I will have to subtract this, to eliminate this factor from my cubic expression. Remember, on my cubic expression question, I don't have x squared. Because I don't have x squared, it means it is represented with 0. So I will add it on like this. X power 3 plus 0 x squared minus 7x plus 6. Because when I make the full polynomial statement, it becomes easier for me to divide x minus 1. Now, I need to remove this one factor which I got from the cubic factors so that I can remain with quadratic and I easily get my answer. Now let's divide to remove the one factor so that I remain with quadratic. In order to eliminate x cube, I need x square, because x square times x, I will get x cube. And x square times minus 1, I'll get minus x square. Then I subtract. I just do it like normal long division. This one give me 0, but 0 minus negative x square, I will remain with x square. Then I bring down the next factor, minus 7x. In order to eliminate x square, I need to have plus x, because x times x will give me x square. Then x times minus 1 will give me minus x. After, I will subtract to eliminate x square. Minus 7 minus plus x, minus 7 minus negative x is the same as minus 7 plus 1. This will give me minus 6x. And 0 this side. So, I bring down positive 6. Now, in order for me to eliminate negative 6x, I'll just need minus 6, because minus 6 times x, I'll get minus 6x. Minus 6 times minus 1, I'll get positive 6. And when I subtract, I'll get 0 and 0. Now, when I have removed this one factor from my cubic, I will get this quadratic. So let me bring them down. X minus 1, and the other side I have x squared plus x minus 6. So I have one factor, I have the second factor. But the second factor can still be factorized. Sum, product, and factor. Our sum is the value in front of x, and so 1. Our product is the value which is the coefficient of x squared, that's a 1, times the constant, I get minus 6. Then I need to get two numbers. When I multiply, I get 6. But when I add them, I should get 1. And that will be 2 and 3. And in order to get minus, it should be minus 2. Therefore, I need to bring these two factors to substitute the middle term. X squared minus 2x plus 3x minus 6. Now, I have removed the x and I have replaced it with the two factors. Then I will split it in the middle. I will factorize this one side. Common term is x. So I get x minus 2. And the other side, common term is 3. Then I have x minus 2 again. Because the brackets are the same, then I have one bracket formed by the values outside the bracket, and the other bracket formed by the values inside the bracket. Now, I have factorized my cubic expression, and my three factors are x minus 1, which I obtained from the beginning. My next factor is x plus 3, and finally, my final factor is x minus 2. Remember, this was cubic expression. So when I factorize cubic expression, I have to get three factors. 1, 2, and 3. As you know, when we are factorizing quadratic expression, we get two factors. Now we have factorized cubic expression and we have got three factors. Thank you for watching. My name is Mr. Ishengoma.